MK party shedding tribal label, emerging as national contender.
Political analyst to weigh in on the Umkhonto weSizwe party 1 year later. Professor, good morning and welcome to Newsroom Africa.
Good morning, my sister, and good morning to your viewers. It's a beautiful Saturday morning.
It's a beautiful day indeed. Let's start here now, Professor. What factors do you think have contributed to the MK party's dominating presence in South African politics, especially in Gauteng, within just 1 year of its formation?
Well, the MK party started by dominating in KZN in a big way. It's now moving to Gauteng, where, as you rightly say, it's beginning to dominate. What has been sustaining them is that almost every week, Jacob Zuma has mastered the art of political communication, where every week you do something dramatic, introduce Willis Mkhono or Dalimpofu or Mkhwebane or somebody with high-profile political, profile in society as joining the MK. Now, in the beginning, when it started, we all thought that this was just a tribal party of the Zulus. But now, with the information that we have and observation that we see, it's no longer a tribal party of the Zulus. It's becoming a national challenge, especially for the ANC, but also, even political parties like EFF and in KZN and Gauteng, the IFP is going to dwindle because MK party is quite able to appeal to hostile dwellers. So, and their next move could be to Limpopo, which is now the center of the ANC. And I can see that they could also win some hearts in Limpopo.
Yeah, let's talk a bit more about this drama that you refer to. How has the party's in-house drama, including defections and leadership disputes, affected its public image and support base?
Well, in the beginning, we thought that a political party is formed through, business school, organizational management, and so on, where you have structures, you have a constitution, you have you assign duties to everybody. But what they did, and they continue to do, is to become. It looks very chaotic if you look into organizational management, but it's centered around the personality of Jacob Zuma, who decides who becomes the Secretary General today and who becomes the Secretary General tomorrow. Now, because people generally, if you look at the elections in America, people are looking for a Donald Trump, somebody who appears unstructured like Jacob Zuma is. And then they feel that in whatever corner they are, they will be able to make their own little contributions and so on. So they are attracting people based on them being chaotic. And generally, that people like informal things. MK party is too informal, and that's how they are attracting people. I don't know if they apply any laws or any constitution, but it's the word of Jacob Zuma that flies. That's all. And so they look at him as Ubaba Ute. Ubaba has said this. Ubaba has said this. And that is the entire message that they are bringing to the world.
That's incredible. You say it seems chaotic. Let's expand on that. What's the significance, do you think, the recruitment of high-profile individuals like Busisiwe Mkhwebane, like Advocate Dalimpofu and Floyd Shivambu hold for the party's future prospects?
Well, Mr. Zuma had to fight the perception that this was a Zulu political party in the style of the IFP, which is a Zulu, very small political party, basically in KZN. So he, I think, strategically started looking for people who are not Zulus, the likes of Floyd Shivambu, Mkhwebane, Ndebele, Floyd Shivambu, Shangan, Dalimpofu, Mxhosa, and all those high-profile people. You have a lot of people now who are not Zulus, who are in leadership or high-profile, let me say, positions in the MK party that are talking, it makes it very difficult to attack him or the MK party as an ethnic political party. It becomes toe-to-toe where the ANC is. And if you look closely to what they say, they are just a version of the ANC. They follow the policies of the ANC. They don't have their own policies on the floor that you can talk about. They just say they're a version of the ANC which is better than the ANC of Ramaphosa. And that's a problem because they've generally taken over the intellectual property of the ANC, and at the moment they are not challenged by anybody on that space.
Which is a very dangerous place to be, especially for the ANC. And over and above what we have discussed, why do you think that the MK party has attracted so many supporters, besides the fact that they are informal and slightly chaotic, or maybe majorly chaotic? But yeah, this interest, including from people that have defected from other parties like the ANC and the EFF?
Well, they have attracted people based on what you said earlier, the informality. But also, Jacob Zuma has been peddling this thing that the ANC of Ramaphosa is not the original ANC. Now, it's not the first time that you hear such a speech. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, when he formed the IFP, was saying that this is not no longer the ANC of Luthuli, of Dube, of Seme, and they had in exile had veered away from the original principles of the ANC of liberating black people. Now, once you go that route that Jacob Zuma has chosen to say the liberation of black people is incomplete, people start looking at farm killings where the farmers are busy killing their workers. People start looking at the economy, which is dominated by white people. People start looking at their own situation in terms of, especially after 2009 when President Thabo Mbeki departed, life for black people has become harder and harder. Okay. So there is also that element of wanting to be very, very black and capitalizing on the numbers. And the numbers are in their favor at the moment because there's a lot of, when you look at the issues of the day, the zamazamas, unemployment, poverty, you look at the issues of the day, the spaza shops, people are feeling that maybe the spaza shops are being given away to foreigners, and the inability of government to communicate and to persuade. Yes.
Okay. So, Professor, we have run out of time. I have so many more questions, but let's wrap it up with this. Do you think that the MK Party's move to form Progressive Parties movement to fight the big party, being the ANC, can bring the ANC to its knees, similar to what happened in Botswana recently?
Well, possibly not in 2029, but what will happen is likely to happen is that they will grow tremendously in provinces. And as you saw, it was in KZN that they grew and then brought the ANC down to 40%. Unless the ANC starts changing the language and talk liberation politics again, it could go down still without the MK party crossing the 50% plus one, but be able to amalgamate with other political parties and unseat the ANC. The problem really with the GNU at the moment, in the eyes of black people, is the presence of the DA. That's the real problem. And based on rhetoric of black politics, liberation politics, the MK party will continue to grow unless that status quo is changed.
All right. Professor, thank you so much for your time. That is Professor Musa Xulu, who's a political analyst, just weighing in as the Umkhonto weSizwe Party is preparing to celebrate their one-year anniversary today in Ekurhuleni, and they've done quite incredibly well.